So there are plenty. I don't have to go into all the benefits that will accrue to the world and to humanity and individuals at home also, because that's another whole long story, but there are lots of positives, huge number of positives. But the worrisome thing is the unmitigated problem that can come along with it. I would suggest that you read this book. I'm holding it up here. It's called The Coming Wave. It's written by Mustafa Sulaiman, who's an amazing person in this field of artificial intelligence. Throughout the book, he's warning us about what can happen if we don't control the growth of AI. In fact, there are lots of companies which are working on generative AI, and some of them had decided they won't release it till it is possible for some kind of regulation to be created whereby it doesn't go out of control. Unfortunately or fortunately, OpenAI, in a flash of exuberance, released ChatGPT in November 2022 before the world was ready. When I say the world was ready, I mean in every sphere of activity, there are some regulations. It's insurance or this or that, so that the people who are going to use them are not taken for a ride by some, let's say, people who want to exploit them. So they wanted to make sure that there are adequate regulations. And you know that when it comes to technology, when it comes to IT, all governments in the world are far behind. And when it comes to AI, most governments are way behind. So they said, look, we have to work with the government to help them regulate us, because they don't know on their own. So they have tried to do this regulation, and it's very, very important. And you'll see a lot of regulations coming in the next 12 to 24 months. It takes time to catch up. Already in the US, the regulations have come. Europe is going to bring in huge regulations. The idea is not to slow the progress or to kill the progress of AI. It is to safeguard human beings. Today, all these devices are our slaves. Tomorrow, we can become slaves of these devices. And you might ask how. See, today, whenever we do anything, whether we switch on a light or a computer or start an Excel sheet to do some calculations, we know that if we do this or do that, the outcome will be this. Like if we switch on the light, we know that turn on the switch, the light will come on, or the fan will come on, or the AC will come on. You switch it the other way around, it will go off. But in the case of AI, we don't some things, and I'll tell you what we don't know. Let me ask you let me pose a question which doesn't really require an answer. Do we know how a child learns things when you train it? We just know that China has learned. We have no idea whether the child will learn very well, or the child will learn a little bit, or the child will learn it so much that he can do all kinds of things we never imagined. We don't know. And we're using training to train computers, and we've achieved certain results, amazing results. Honestly, no one knows actually what is happening. How is it really happening? They know that if you do these things and train it, it will do it. But even technologists don't know how there's an equation between, there's no certain defined equation between input and output in training of human beings, of animals, and the computer. So if you don't have regulations on what kind of training can be done, what limits are there, what are the guardrails, you might have, and you can soon have, an AI which will train another AI to do things which you don't want it to do. Can you imagine that today you're spending hours and hours in collecting tons and tons of data, feeding it to the AI you created, the algorithms, and getting them to work in a particular way, understand and work. But what if that AI is capable of actually doing training itself. Already there are experiments going on where there are companies teaching AI to train other AI. But they're doing it a little carefully. What if some bad actor decides, I don't want any guardrails there, let it train? That is the single biggest worry. And out of that comes unmitigated problems. So I don't want to give a laundry list of unmitigated problems that can come almost like Star Wars or this or that. But I'm just saying it all comes from the fact that we do not know how training works. We know that it works, but we don't know how it works. And if you don't know how something works, it can lead to undesired outcomes. I know I'm trying to oversimplify the answer, but that's really the answer.
Right. Now, let's segue into how AI can actually help organizations, and how can organizations ready themselves to ride this technology wave?
Yeah. So it has to start from some people at the top in an organization who have to recognize that there are huge changes going to happen, a lot of benefits going to come by using AI, and that they're left out. They will be left out, the organization will be left out in the game of competitiveness if they don't adopt and transform the organizations to be welcoming of new ways of doing things. So there's a Japanese saying that the fish often rots to the top, which means if the top management does not believe that certain change is required, it will not happen and the company will rot. So today we're at a stage where it's not the question of whether we use digitization or don't digitize the organization. That's not passé. Most organizations have got digitized and they've become a certain level of productivity has happened. But now, the next big change is huge. It will result in being much more productive. It will result in being able to do things which you never imagined could be done by your company. And it will open up opportunities which are unlimited. It also opens up opportunities for your competitors and people who are never even your competitors to do things which will take away your joy, your share in the market. So I think one of the ways to do it is to create a separate team in the organization which will explore, and say team in the organization, because inside the organization there are people who understand the business, they understand the nuances of the customer requirements and so on and so forth. Get them, form a team to say, how do I use all the new developments in AI to improve this organization, drastically improve this organization, add services which we never could economically offer, and in a short while you'll come out with solutions which you never thought of. So the starting point is the top management has to understand and recognize and act that AI can be made a slave of your organization to do unbelievable things.